Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Revenge After Show for Season 4, Episode 4? 5. Repercussions. There will be repercussions from the fans by me mistaking that in the comments section. But of course, we have the Roxy Striar.
Hello.
We have Anna Koppel for mayor.
Hey.
And we have my favorite. Introduce yourself.
What?
Oh my gosh, you won't even introduce me? I'm Christina Kaplan.
Okay. First of all, salted to us, because why does she get to be the favorite? And then salted to her because...
No, you
No,
understand
I'm
the
not
sarcasm.
the favorite.
You understand
Yeah.
the sarcasm in that.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
What a bully.
I know.
I'm sliding over to that side.
What a great episode for David Clark.
Oh, nice way to just change the topic there, Phil.
That's what I do. You know what? It was a lot of kind of internal things. What I liked about tonight's episode was the fact that all the things in the past 4 seasons are kind of being brought, as the name implies, repercussions. Declan finally is being used as a weapon in the sense of like, remember Declan in terms of Victoria and Charlotte. I love that. So
And the
much to talk
reporter.
about.
The reporter.
The reporter, yes, absolutely.
I thought this was the best episode of the season so far. I felt like we got Emily with the punching bag. We're starting to get her back. Got Victoria with that smug smile. We're starting to get her back. I'm liking where we're going with these characters. Although I'm really nervous for Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte's not been well.
No.
She's been better.
She's been better.
For sure.
Should we open up with last week we asked what would Charlotte and Ben, their couple name, be? And a lot of
I still think it's happening. I know we see no signs of it, but I think it's happening.
all right. And why how could it happen?
Well, first of all, to finish your
fiction.
sentence is that you guys were awesome and you tubed in letting us know that you think it should be Benlet. So go Benlet. Hashtag Benlet. I think that it's going to happen because I think she needs saving really bad right now. And he's a cop and he's focusing on the wrong things. So I think that she could be a good little project for him. Ooh, that sounds so
And,
well,
well-
it just sounded bad when I said it.
But they're also both campaigning against Jack, so they could sort of team up in that regard.
Is Ben campaigning against Jack?
A little bit.
It's kind of pissing me off.
It's his number one suspect, but as of now,
On
the
a case he's not even on.
Yeah.
I feel
that
like
he has
that's
no jurisdiction over.
right.
Yeah.
It's one thing to not be the lead on it, but when you don't have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we find out that he has a solid, the best alibi you could possibly have. Then to not just drop it, now it looks like he thinks maybe he ordered the hit or something, because he's still going with it. I'm sure he made copies of the files too. He handed them back to,
Of course.
but he definitely has all the information still. It's making me nervous.
Yeah, he clearly doesn't trust him.
Right?
And-
Why? What did Jack do to make him not trust him?
Maybe he just feels like he's too into Emily. I don't know, but he doesn't trust Jack, and he should because they're partners. And as I understand it, cops are supposed to trust their partners, so
With their lives.
right. So it's like a risky little game being out in the world together, not trusting him to that extent.
Absolutely. So I don't know. It makes me kind of not trust Ben. So now I'm not trusting Jack's partner, even though I think that he's a good guy. And I guess he's intuitive enough to know that Jack is lying to him about something, which we know is true. Just that something isn't killing Conrad.
Right.
That something is who Emily is
Yeah.
and what's going on with David, etc.
And it worked out. Obviously, the only reason he's able to do this was because Jack was ordered off the force for the time being, because of what's going on.
Because you can't be a cop when you're being followed by
Cops.
paparazzi. Yeah, and cops, right?
How do we? I want to ask you guys this in terms of the chief taking back the file. I thought that was, yes, it was warranted, but it was also suspicious because obviously we know him to be in with Victoria.
Very suspicious, and I definitely think that he has something to do with something. I don't know if I would call him in with Victoria. He gave Victoria the heads up, but I think he might have something to do with Conrad's death, and maybe was in with David or something. Not David necessarily. I mean, I don't know who, but he's suspicious. He's suspicious for sure.
Yeah, well, we thought initially that he was in with Victoria.
Right, because he called her in and sat her down.
But now he was like, no good comes of this.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe Victoria has something over him, or I don't know, he owes her in some way.
Right.
So he maybe like begrudgingly is in with Victoria.
Right, exactly. I just don't think he loves her out of the goodness of his heart. I think that there's something up there,
Yeah.
which we just don't know what it is.
Did we ever figure out who that prison, because there was that guard who beat up Conrad and then let him out.
Right, it's the guy that's from Prison Break.
How apropos.
We don't know exactly what's going on, but we did see him with David at the beginning of the season, so we know that he was working with David.
Okay. But
Yeah, I mean, that truth is still yet to come out in terms of what actually, I think now that David, not to jump too far ahead, but the fact that he's finally coming into the David Clark that we know and that Emily knows, we'll get those pieces.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Let's talk about another love triangle that developed and also got crushed in tonight's episode. Louise.
Why can't you get it? It was the entire episode last week. I just kept saying it to him.
I know, I watched it.
Louise Ellis.
Louise Ellis.
Margaux is the one who's French.
Yeah, it's Margaux.
Okay, when you're from the
Louise.
South, you can be French.
Well, only like New Orleans
And also, you could be French living anywhere.
right.
Anyway, we have a love triangle on our hands.
Maybe that's why she has such a weird accent. She's confused where she's from.
What did you guys think of the love triangle?
I just have no idea what Louise is up to. I mean, is it this all because she has mommy issues and she wants to be in with Victoria and have her be her mom? Or is she trying to actually take her down? Or is she upset that Victoria left her behind? What's going on? Why is she so gung-ho for Daniel? It's clearly not because she actually likes him. Although
Yeah.
he's not horrible to look at.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with her, but I was very confused by her this episode because I was sure that she was a plant there from Emily or somehow like had her own intentions to, like, I was just positive that there's no way she could just walk out of the insane asylum and, that, but now it just seems like, she just sort of threw in like, oh, that's what electric shock therapy will do. Or, and
Ha ha ha.
and I don't know that Daniel knew that she was...
No way he knows.
Right.
No, he has
so,
no idea.
So why would she just drop that for no reason? And then, like, she obviously had an episode in the elevator, so
Right.
she has issues.
Definitely.
I think that it is all focused on Victoria, but like you were saying, Roxy, I don't know exactly what she wants to get out of her, but I think that is her MO of getting in with Daniel is to eventually get to Victoria somehow.
Yeah.
Well, especially after Daniel's line by the changing rooms when he says, hey, if you want my mother to be a part of anything or to have any control, just date me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But was she obsessed with Victoria before she went into the mental institution, and that's why she went in because she knew Victoria was there, or did she become obsessed with her once she got in there? Because she's obsessed with her. We
Yeah.
just don't know why or how, to what extent, or what she wants.
But I feel like she also... Okay, Daniel also had that line as she was getting on the elevator. He's like, trust me, this is good for you. You don't want to be a part of my family.
Right.
And then that, like, devastated her. But then when she was looking at herself in the elevator and, like, her face was warped, I mean, I felt like that was very poetic, that obviously she sees herself as...
Something else.
Something,
yeah.
right. That she has a warped perception of herself.
Yeah.
So,
I liked that shot a lot.
yeah, so did I. But so what is it? How
Yeah.
does she see herself? And
Wait, I find it interesting that it's so similar to how Emily kind of came into this whole thing, where Emily went after Daniel. She had a lot of money. It's slightly different, obviously, because Daniel's her accountant.
Is she after her own revenge? Is that what you're saying? Like,
It may be. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but
We got a spin-off coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I don't know if I would want to follow Louise the same way I want to follow Emily.
Yeah, no.
What did you guys think of Daniel in terms of him juggling 2 women?
You know, I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised he slept with Louise this early. I felt like he had kind of changed and was really into Margaux, and then I was like, oh, you haven't changed at all. And then very quickly, oh, yes, you have. It was kind of strange. What did you guys think about that?
I agree. I thought it was. I didn't expect him to sleep with her right away, like you said as well. I think he was taking what Margaux said, like, you need to keep Louise happy. I think he, like, took that a little too literally, maybe, and thought that that was the way to, you know, keep her happy.
That's not a good alibi if Margaux ever caught them.
Yeah.
Right. You told me to keep her happy, but I think that's what.
Men.
And then once he realized, and he said, oh, you know, I realized I'm part of a really great team. Like when she said, oh, we're better together than apart or whatever.
Don't push me away.
I thought for sure that this was the splintering of them because he snapped on her for no reason. It'd be the equivalent of like, hey, do you mind? Can you get me a water? What? Why? Get off my case. What?
Well, that's what men who cheat on women do. Because they're so guilty, they start yelling.
But see, I think Louise actually nailed it when she was like, you still don't know who you are.
Right.
And so for a minute he was like, well, maybe I'm the guy who's with Louise now, and I am going to push Margaux away. Like his whole life he's had people, he's had women actually direct him as to who he's going to be. And so I think he's just very pliable.
He's always in an identity crisis when it comes to even what he does for work. His job's changing. He wanted to be a poet, then he worked for his dad, then he doesn't know who to trust. Is it his mom, is it his dad? Is it neither? Is he good to Charlotte? Is he not? Is he making money? Where is he living? Like, it's always up in the air. So there's nothing that's really been a constant for him. I guess now Margaux is that constant.
He's never grown up.
Right.
He's never had that opportunity to really, like, and they've said, oh, you're the head of the family now, you're the head of Grace and Global now, but he's never actually, like,
made the
separated from
choice
his family.
for
He's never,
himself.
he's never emotionally grown.
Right. I agree. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by the decision that he made, but every time I think I see something redeeming in him, he just goes and squashes it.
Yeah.
And then kind of got it back a little towards the end of the night. But I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if he'll actually stick to it.
But at the same time, I'm sure Margaux wouldn't be pleased to find that out.
So I have a question though. So I think that this is what they're trying to do. When Margaux said, you know, when she said for like the 20th time, I have a way for you to get, you know, your name cleared or whatever. Is it by teaming up with her for the David Clark story? Is that how she's going to help him?
Handing over the deed
to
the house.
Okay.
Handing over the deed, which she had. It's just, this whole thing is kind of confusing to me. Like, who owes what at this point? Because we've got Emily, who now knows she can't trust Margaux, but what did Margaux do to make Emily not trust her? Didn't Margaux do exactly what Emily asked her to do?
But she's still with Daniel.
Right.
And she had separated from Daniel publicly, and that's why Daniel's been saying, I can't come back to La Mochelle because it's going to look bad for you and for business and whatever. And so Emily has been under the impression that they separated.
But she's so smart, I'm surprised she didn't know. I feel like she has tabs on everybody.
Well, now she knows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, because she sees it, but I'm surprised that at any point she believed that to be the truth, you know.
I think she's just had bigger things
To focus on.
Yeah.
I guess.
She lost clarity tonight.
Did she?
Nolan would agree with me.
How so?
When she went up to see David the first time in the hotel, she like begged Charlotte, and then Charlotte tricked her, and it was just Victoria up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Margot's comment of like, this color does not look good on you.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
speaking of, you know, her anger and all that.
Right. Yeah. It's an ugly color on anybody. We've seen it a lot on Emily, but not many people have.
Before we fully get into the events of David, which obviously we'll talk Margaux and Daniel a little bit more, let's talk about Charlotte and her demise. She's, is she redeemable? Jack says, like, hey, you know what? I thought you were just emulating Victoria, but now I realize that you're worse.
You're worse than Conrad. Yeah. I just hate her. I hate everything about her now. Like, I know that sounds so mean, but before I hated her and I was like, oh, but she's so young. But now I'm just like, you're the worst human. You're just bad.
Did anyone else kind of feel like in some of those shots when she had on the black and white dress and the bright red lips and she was walking behind David when she took him to see Jack, I felt like a lot of her facial expressions, like her little smirks, it reminded me a lot of Victoria. And I felt like, I don't know if they were doing this on purpose, but it kind of felt like they were trying to have her kind of hold herself and emulate Victoria's mannerisms. You know what I mean? Did anyone else kind of pick up on that?
Yeah, I feel like they've been doing that more and more. Like, it wasn't just this episode. But I do not hate Charlotte. I think that she's gone through so much.
I know. I keep trying to tell myself that.
Eventually, that has to stop. There was a point in tonight, like, you didn't have to do the Jack thing. You didn't have to let Emily see David and all of that, but you didn't have to go to the level of knowingly saying, hey, here's your grandson. Oh, I'm going to show you pictures of your daughter.
Such a bitchy thing to do.
I see, and I thought for a second that when she took out the album, she was going to show pictures where Emily was in the photo too, but she didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, sure, there comes a point in your adulthood where you have to take a look at yourself and say, like, sure, I've been through a lot, but, you know, it's time for me to change my ways. But she still is young, and she's still going through, like, trauma after trauma after trauma.
Yeah, she is. But I think that you also have to come to a point in your adulthood where you see your parents for who they are and not just as your parents. You know, you see them for real people. And I just don't feel like she has a good grasp on who people are. She just looks at them like, oh, that's my mom, so I'm going to trust her for this, whatever it is. And but again, she's old enough to not be doing that.
She trusts in everyone for the most part.
Right.
Like people that she shouldn't trust in, like what we saw at the end of the episode, getting into a taxi with a stranger that clearly has other motives. So I think she's just, there's no excuse anymore for her behavior. Like, yes, you've gone through a lot. Yes, you've had a lot of traumatic experiences, but there comes a point in time where you have to take those and learn from them and stop making the same mistakes over and over again.
I understand she was absolutely manipulated by Victoria in the sense she brings up Declan. Like, remember Declan, this is all Emily's fault. And
didn't she say maybe Declan would still be here or something, like tugging at her heartstrings?
Yeah.
But again, all the more reason why, if that is the case, then you should be on Jack's side, if nothing else, because that was his brother.
Yeah, I just think that if I were her, I would be handling it differently. I just, I put myself in those shoes for a second, and I don't think you're doing the best job, even though you've been given the short end of the stick time and time again. But I did want to wait until we were on air to ask you about this, Anna, because we were watching the episode, and you just briefly mentioned when she gets in the car with somebody. Christina mentioned her getting in the car with somebody with different motives. And we were watching, and you said, wow, I like this. I like where this is going, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, what I liked was at that point, David started speaking. And, like, we've just been missing Emily,
cool.
like, talking at the beginning and end of episodes. And so I like that, like, oh, good, like, David's going to be doing the voiceovers now. Yeah.
And it's going to be nice because of him figuring things out. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, that was cool.
In terms of the motive...
I thought you meant her getting in the car with him. And I was like, it's a little sick and twisted, but okay. I can see it.
It's not far-fetched for Anna.
No, but
what does that mean, Phil? Let's talk about this on air.
I don't know.
What I did like about her getting in the car... is that I think that this could be something that could shake her. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to be the event that changes her for good so she realizes that, like, something's up? And I feel like...
Shock therapy.
No, and I don't know why he's kidnapping her or why he's taking her or what he's doing with her. Presumably, we see this creepy guy and our brains we think, oh, with a young girl, it's either murder or rape or something like that. It seems to be at this point consensual, so I guess we're not going down one of those paths.
It's a nice tie-in to the David Clark thing.
Behind you, Phil's just like, of course. Murder, rape, yeah.
I mean, seriously, though, like, you see this murderous guy with the tattoo on his hand. We know who it is. We don't know who it is, but we know that he tried to run over David Clark either hired by Victoria or not. And you think to yourself, oh, taking young girl home, what's he doing?
And he even said, wow, I never thought I'd be going home with Charlotte Grayson.
Yeah.
She's like, it's Clark.
I know.
Gets
So
in the
that
car.
means he obviously knows who she is. It seems like at this point, everybody knows who she is. What does he want with her? Is he trying to get information out of her? What is he actually trying to do? I'm not sure.
Someone with an agenda against the Clarks.
Right. Agenda.
In the previews for next week, it looked like she had blood on her. And she was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She
So-
probably kills him.
Yeah, maybe.
You think she kills him?
Yeah.
Like maybe he attacks her.
Prediction.
That'd be
she-
yeah, interesting. Now, you mentioned the fact of obviously this ties into David Clark because this is supposedly the guy that tried to hit David Clark, and
Or maybe it's a whole gang of guys and they all have this tat. Or it could be the same person.
Prison gang?
And more likely it will be.
okay, we can ask two questions: A, is it a gang? B, was this man or gang hired by Victoria? Answer the first one.
The first one is no, I don't think it's a gang. I think it's the same person. That's why they showed it to us very specifically twice. And was this person hired by Victoria? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past her, but that doesn't mean necessarily it was her.
I think yes. And I think he was hired not to kill David, but to
scare.
scare him. Yeah. So
Into
like,
having cops around all the time so that Emily couldn't get to him.
and to like get out of town and
Right.
yeah, all of that.
And to make her look like, oh, David, oh my God, and like embrace him too.
So
But then I kind of don't think that it was her. But then I don't know who it would be.
if it was her and now he has Charlotte, do you think maybe he would tell Charlotte and that will be the thing that changes Charlotte?
No, because I think that she's gonna kill him. So
Oh, so that nobody got time for that then.
no.
Okay.
Maybe he utters it in his last breath.
It was your mother.
Her mother hired me. You never know.
Okay, and that's her oh my God after she killed him?
Yeah.
I think we put it all together.
Like she's more shocked that it was her mom than that she killed someone.
Interesting.
Everybody at home was like, what?
I know.
This fan fiction has gone awry.
TV is just, I'm a huge fan of Sons of Anarchy, and that show, I don't know if anyone's watching it this season.
It's so gory.
It's just
dude.
every episode, literally 20 people are dying. It's like, how does that even happen in this, how is this city still going on? So when I think about, all the deaths we've had on Revenge, and, nothing really happens.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we just go on like it's no big deal, Maybe that's how Charlotte and Ben will get together is because maybe
we don't know if they do get together.
well, this is just okay. This is a prediction, but
Right.
maybe he comes somehow. She calls him or whatever, and he comes and helps her instead of turning her in, and then
So she calls 911.
no.
He doesn't seem to me like the kind of guy who's going to not turn somebody in, though, because we did see before when Jack tried to save her when she was doing copious amounts of cocaine, and
True.
he was like, "You get one pass or whatever it is."
But maybe he gives himself his own pass.
on Charlotte, maybe because he's in love already.
Maybe.
He loves her.
He does like to
Oh.
take walks.
Going back to Ben real fast, there was that line that says, remember when he questioned the guy and it said, this was done by someone with a lot of money.
Right.
Right.
I think that's what's going to lead him back to Emily.
Yep.
And the reason why I brought that up is I think he's in love with Emily, hence not Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't. I think he is into Emily. I just think eventually he will be into Charlotte. Also,
As like the secondary, I can't have one Clark, so I'm going to have the other.
Emily does that all the time. You can't have Aiden. I guess I'll go to Jack. Whatever. What's this guy's name too? I'm wondering where the hell he is and when he's
Which
going to
guy?
come back into play. Javier. Where
He's
is
gone. He's gone.
he? He's not gone.
Yeah, because they
Where's-
haven't made any mentions of him.
Or the program.
So it's probably gonna be
It's a failed program.
he'll just appear in one episode. He'll come back like, oh my God, he's back, and it'll be a pivotal moment. You know.
I guess we got a lot of people that should be coming back this season. Javier, I would like to see come back. Obviously, Mason. People really want to see him. Not Lydia,
Yeah.
etc. And also, people are talking about Jack's actual mom coming back, maybe Emily's mom coming back, or flashbacks, whatnot. So I do think that there is room this season to bring people back in and out of the lives again. which is cool.
Fair enough. So essentially, this whole episode, for the most part, the A storyline is David's search for himself, which I didn't, with his talk with Nolan, I didn't expect that sort of thing. I wasn't giving him as much credit.
I kind of thought he was going to kill Nolan for a second. I was like, oh,
I know.
no. Yeah. It was
The way that they
creepy.
had him just standing there and he didn't seem excited to see Nolan at all. And
Yeah.
I need to talk to you. Or whatever he said and just kind of walked in. I agree. I thought for a second that it was something was going to happen.
Yeah, I was really worried about it because he didn't have the cops come in and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I do think it's good that he went there. I think it's good that we have him back in the beach house. Just the thing that I can't stop asking myself, and I know that it wouldn't make as good TV, whatever, but like, I just don't understand why Emily's not walking over next door and telling him. I just don't understand. And she gives us a million excuses tonight, and I'm just like, bitch, go tell him. Like, come on, what are you doing?
Why didn't Nolan say anything?
Why didn't Nolan say anything? Why didn't Jack say anything?
I
And why
understand-
didn't Nolan say anything? And then, Emily, why don't you go say something? She's like, this is about him. Yes, it is about him, so go tell him his daughter's alive.
I think the first one, I think Charlotte actually hit it on the head that Jack sort of is a coward. In at least in that respect where he didn't want to say anything to David Clark, especially in front of Charlotte.
I guess.
Because he knew he was going to get
But-
tooled by Charlotte in that moment.
Now we have David going to get revenge. Revenge is no way to live your life. We have seen that. Like, why would she want that for her dad?
Well, she obviously doesn't know that he's going to seek revenge. I think the perfect time would have been as she heard that song at the end of the episode, she could have walked over there and that would have been the end of the episode. And then next episode, they could show her talking to him.
It's so weird because we already saw him over her bed see her and not murder her. I felt
It was
like that
also
was the
dark.
moment that he like knew something was up and knew it was her. So I guess if he saw her again, wouldn't he maybe
they-
just know?
I'll give them credit because they are playing it well in the sense. The whole point is that the memory of his little girl is fading, and so okay, is that plausible? I don't know, but it's a good kind of explanation for it.
Okay, I guess.
Well, okay, but then I just feel like there are so many questions. Yeah, if he was standing over her bed and didn't kill her, then why didn't he kill her? Why did he get himself arrested the next? Because he
Right.
got himself arrested, right? We're all in agreement
Because
about
he was
it.
in the fugue state, whatever and was in and stole from the store.
That was in response to Victoria trying to control him, I believe. Ultimately,
He just wanted to get away from Victoria. That's
I don't
why
think
he
it was
got himself arrested.
I don't think it was to get away from Victoria. I think it was he didn't like the fact that he was being controlled and being kind of held. Right, he even says today, like, I will not be a prisoner. I will not have cops around me.
No, it was because we saw even before he got himself arrested, he beat the crap out of himself with those whips and the chain on his back. He wanted to get arrested so that it wouldn't look sketchy that he had been gone for a week. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to show he was back in the world and getting arrested, like he had just been getting beaten just that week. And for all of the weeks prior. So he got himself arrested so that he could re-enter the world without question. But it doesn't explain to me the whole Emily thing still. Like,
Well,
and it
and-
doesn't explain to me why Emily's not looking more into whether Conrad actually had him held, which I'm starting to think Conrad didn't. I'm starting to think Conrad wasn't responsible for this.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think he was at all.
No,
But
that's-
then who was?
to answer I want to in terms of Nolan Mason.
I think he was just underground because he hadn't been cleared. His name hadn't been cleared yet. So he was just,
because when we first saw him, we saw he had all those scars.
well, he had that one scar from where he was stabbed.
Oh yeah, maybe that was the only scar.
Yeah.
So you think he did it himself?
Did what himself? Just kept himself
Yeah.
underground. Yeah, I think he just kept himself hidden.
So how did he know when his name was cleared? You know what I mean?
And how did he have
was
any
keeping
interaction
track
with
of
that prison
anything?
guard?
Well, I don't think it's impossible to have interaction with the world while still like keeping yourself well hidden.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was.
Real terrorists do it all the time.
Very true. Is
Zero Dark 30.
David Clark a terrorist?
I mean, they're kind of hinting at it for next week. They're like, there is more to David Clark's story.
Sorry, yeah, I don't know.
Phil, what were you going to say before? Sorry.
Well, I understand why Nolan didn't want to do it because especially this whole episode, how Emily was so wanting to meet her father, he didn't want to be the one to do it. He wanted her to have that moment.
Yeah,
Now, why Emily didn't do it, that's debatable. But
yeah, I guess. I just feel like I would say something. I would say something.
Well, why he didn't say, actually, Emily is Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay, why couldn't he have brought David with him over
Right,
to her,
right.
though?
Or said, hold on, like, let me call and say, Emily, get over here right now.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
And it doesn't make sense. She's kind of contradicting herself because she was telling all her reasonings this whole time to Nolan were, oh, but it's my dad. You don't understand. He's been gone for so long. Like when Nolan was saying, why are you rushing? Why are you trying to get to
Right.
him? And now she's like, oh, well,
When he's ready.
yeah. It's like,
And,
okay.
like, how can he be ready until he knows you're alive?
Right.
You know, I just feel like she's leading him down a really bad path.
And how is she going to know when he's ready?
Right. Right.
When he replays the song.
Maybe she'll bring her neighbor some brownies. Oh, I have a new neighbor. Let me bring him some baked goods.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hi, welcome to the neighborhood. Oh,
Weird.
by the way, you look a lot like my father. Do I look a lot like your daughter?
And this was our old house.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at my tattoo.
Strange.
I don't know. But you know what? I do have faith in the way they've been doing it overall. Yes,
You
there's
always have faith.
You know what? Without faith, grace, and hope, we have nothing. That's from Californication.
Gotta
Not the
have
exact
faith.
quote.
Okay,
that's all.
yeah, rock it. Go ahead, Christina.
I don't know
let's
the
hear
words after that. You gotta have faith. That's all I know.
it. Sure, yeah. Totally.
Roxy and I are just like, yeah, we're
Whatever it is. And does that...
Cynical.
Did we cover the episode? Does that bring us to predictions?
I want to cover the press event because now Victoria's overall out of the picture. Like, you would think that she perhaps, at the very least, would stay at this beach house.
No, she's pissed.
Yeah,
Because
all the
she's
more
lost
reason.
control.
Yeah, all the more reason why I would be in that beach house.
But I think she needs to get away and plot and figure out her next move.
She knows Emily's behind this, so she needs to step back for a second and figure out why and how and what.
Yep.
I just don't understand how Victoria could possibly think this is going to turn out well for her. Obviously, at some point, David's going to find out about Emily and tear Victoria's throat out.
I think she's just like hoping that there's that off chance that he's going to be really upset by all the things that she's done and stay with Victoria, which it's like a 1 in a million chance. It's more than
What about
that,
the things that
probably.
she's done, though? He said
Exactly.
tonight, he's like, I found out I couldn't trust the people I thought that I could trust. You know, like, what are you, a moron, Victoria? Obviously, he's not going to take your side.
Yeah.
So 2 questions. 1, does she still even love Pascal? Because remember, that was like a question for Margaux.
right.
Number 2, does she love David Clark now? Or what?
I don't really believe she loves either of them, like in the true sense of being in love with someone. I think she loves having control over them. And I mean, even though Pascal's gone, she's still using him by, you know, how Margot's like, oh, you would never, you know, betray your beloved Pascal or whatever. Like, and, you know, and so they're still using him even though he's not even here. And I think that's what she is in love with, is the using these men to get what she wants.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think she. I'm with you. I don't think she loves either of them. I think when you truly love somebody, and it doesn't have to
Explain.
be romantic. It doesn't have to be romantic, but when you have true, honest love for somebody, you will put their needs above yours, at least sometimes. And I don't think Victoria's ever done that.
I was going to say that I don't think she's capable of loving somebody, maybe. Or at least we haven't seen it yet.
Has she done that for her children
No,
even? I mean,
no.
I just feel like it's always Victoria first, and she uses people. And yeah, I mean, she's still using Pascal, even though he's dead, like manipulating Margaux like that just to get money.
Yeah.
You know?
And she already got money from Margaux, and now she's been it's like, oh, you're my family. BS.
And now she
dude.
won't even answer her calls.
Yeah, BS. It's a load of crap. I think that she's not capable, and I think that Conrad might not have been capable either.
But one of the
really
reasons why
decided
she
Jody.
hates Conrad is because she couldn't control him. Mm-hmm. Unlike Pascal and David Clark, she loves because she loves the control over them.
Maybe. I do think that she, back in the day, might have been in love with David Clark. We see those
Yeah.
flashbacks, but then she did such a horrible thing to him. It's hard for me to even say that.
I think back then she was still, and I use this word very loosely, that she was still innocent. but she wasn't as manipulative and just evil as she is now. I think that that was like the first, at least from what we know, that was like the first real bad thing that she was involved with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Could season 5 be the story of Charlotte as a more eviler Victoria?
I really don't think that's the direction we're going to go. I think we're going to see a good Charlotte. I also don't know if we're getting a season 5, so we'll see about
Honestly,
that.
I don't want to say this, but I wouldn't even be surprised if Charlotte ends up dying before the end of the season, somehow. I mean,
Drug
what she's
overdose?
been doing, I feel like it wouldn't be surprising if she got murdered or if she overdosed or if she killed herself. I mean, obviously, we already see her try to kill herself. She's already overdosed once.
I think we're going to see Daniel go down and Charlotte come up. Like,
Really?
yeah, because I think the kids are going to split. One of them's going to end up evil. One of them's going to end up good. And I think Daniel's going to be the one that ends up evil. And I think Charlotte will end up
But it's
teaming up with our Emily
To me,
trio.
it's a little more poetic if David Clark's daughter, right? You have the two sisters, and one of them just becomes more eviler than evil itself.
Maybe David Clark, or Emily, that is Amanda, and Charlotte sail off into the sunset together, and we end the series.
I doubt it, but maybe.
Well, what did you guys, going to your point, Anna, the quote at the end from David Clark, what did we think of this? I don't have it verbatim, but evil takes many forms. It has cost me a lot, something like that. The memories of you.
I will have revenge.
I will have revenge. You were wronged as I was, etc., etc.
I loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved it. And, as I said before, and I think, Roxy, you've talked about this too, how we've just been sort of been missing the quotes from
Yeah.
Emily at the top and her sort of wrapping up at the bottom of each episode. And I love it. And Victoria's sort of hoping that David will learn all of these things about Emily and hate her for what she's done, but he's on the same page with her now. Like, he will have revenge, even though he told her not to seek it. He's like,
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna have my own revenge.
Right, and I love that, and I love the like father like daughter. And again, Anna, you mentioned it. I really miss this part of the show, hearing like the chunks, the paragraphs at the top and bottom, and having him do it was really cool. So I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed where we're going. I just don't understand why he has to have revenge because his daughter's still alive.
Yeah,
So-
I'm wondering what exactly his revenge is going to be, who it's going to be on.
Well, he wants to
and-
find out how his daughter died. That's what the revenge is, and to take revenge on those people. But his daughter's alive, so the person to take revenge on would be Victoria for being a meanie bedini and not telling him.
Yes.
Good descriptive word.
Yeah.
With that, predictions?
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
Why is David punching Nolan? We see him punch
I
Nolan.
didn't see that.
Well, it was a cut, so I don't know if that's actually. We see David punch, and we see Nolan like back. But those were two single shots.
It could be because Nolan didn't tell him that Emily was alive, and he's just in the moment really angry.
I don't know. Weird. And we see David go live on air. I wonder what story he's going to tell, and then I wonder if Victoria's going to let it air because apparently she has final say in what goes on.
But
Not
if it's
on live
live.
TV.
Yeah, it's very true, but I don't know. I don't know what he's going to tell the world. Probably not that he killed Conrad.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think Charlotte either injures or kills this mystery guy. Hopefully we find out a little bit as to why he actually tried to run over David or who, propositioned.
Do you think that if she kills him, there's any chance that she calls Emily?
Yeah, I think that could be a
Like, I need your
good
help.
possibility because she knows that Emily's probably the only one that will help her and has the ability to help her.
I think it would be a little too soon next episode to see him die because we have no idea why he was there in the first place, but I do think I could see it.
A 3-episode arc type
Yeah.
of deal.
I think that they bring on people to kill them all the time.
Yeah, but we're going to have a 3-episode arc.
Okay.
This is what the
all right.
business calls it.
Well, why does she look so shocked then? And why does she
And
have
she had blood,
on?
yeah.
I feel like she kills him, and I feel like she could call Jack for help.
I think she'd call Ben before Jack.
And maybe this is where
How does she have Ben's number?
911.
Ben Lett.
Ben answers.
911.
He also
Hi,
works.
this is
Hi,
Ben.
911. What's your emergency?
When
I
he's
need to
not
talk
a
to
beat
Ben.
cop, he also works the 911 operating system.
He's a dispatcher.
Yeah.
There should be like a Tinder for cops.
Cops? What the?
Why?
I don't know.
Because they're hot. What?
I don't know where I was going with that.
You know, there's
Let's
like a
move on.
police.
I'm
There's
just thinking about Tinder. Gonna go
just thinking
Tinder
about
after
how hot
this.
this is how I'm gonna tie it and just wrap it up in some sort of fashion. You know what? There's a police ball. That's typical, right? You ever see those?
Ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've been missing
Policemen
the
don't have balls.
Oh.
we've been missing the party
But,
aspect of it. Every week we used to get a party.
Yeah, we need a
now
party.
we don't have that. We got the voiceover back, but not the parties. Anyway, on that note, thank you guys for listening. Where can the people find you, Christina Kaplan?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Tina Cap.
You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR.
You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
And follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Keep the comments going. You guys have such amazing comments. We love reading them.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next Sunday for a post-Halloween Revenge Year episode.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later, Dango.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.